Cheers, gents. Welcome to the fucking 2024 kickoff, baby. I would be cracking this beer if this was the first time I was, in fact, recording this. Hooray for getting into season form. Definitely miss the fact that I didn't have my audio input in while I was recording, so recorded a great video, all muted. Welcome in, Cole and Farah. But shit, boys, always fun to get together, draft even if it's virtually. Still always have a lot of fucking laughs, good back and forth. And it paired perfectly with our draft competition that we had with each other. I definitely love getting together, but when it comes to drafting, I definitely vibe on the remote action, especially since we're doing it usually during the week. And when I get around you guys, I just want to make bad decisions. There it is. I'm going to be doing a draft analyst, analyze. No, that I would be the analyst. Analysis. There we go. Will come out and it's going to be in a separate video for a little bit better depth, not making a whole hour long T3. And for those that you want to see it, it'll just be kind of separate organization, all that fun stuff. Because I kind of want to make this weekly thing weekly. It's we're in our 9th season. I'll get it one of these times. Might as well keep it under single digits. Yeah, do a separate analysis of the draft, and also just hoping you guys give me some feedback just to give a little extra flavor and not have you guys listen to my opinions all the time, regardless if they are in fact right or not. And of course, like the first minute that I sent it, Farah had to come with some slick shit. Welcome to the league, buddy. But it's been interesting what I've seen so far. And then aside from that, boys, especially when it comes to like league events and stuff like that, like especially for draft, definitely voice your opinion or like things that are going on in your life. We had Kinzer, um, who clearly got the auto draft demon from his worst nightmares as he gave him the heaviest Steeler team we've seen in a real long time, and not in a good way, without any running backs aside from Isaiah Pacheco. So, good luck for you there, bud. But if anyone can do it, it's our beloved Taco of the league. So with him having hockey and with Dylan having his anniversary tonight, and I know that Grish, for whatever reason, decided to text me at 2 o'clock this afternoon to try to push the time back. Those factors can be adhered to or obliged to with plenty of time. Uh, Day of the draft is just not it. Ideally, if we can have any sort of week heads up, because I feel like all the things that kind of came through had some sort of schedule or was planned or could have been asked about the plans. So yeah, just let me know. Commish is here. Help y'all out. That's half the job I do. The other half is whooping your asses and taking your money. What can I say? At least want to have fun while we're doing it. Anywho's, that's really all I got for you guys as far as like Commish's corner. Draft is wonderful. Draft competition was fantastic. Hit me up with who you think came away with top of the draft, dark horse from the middle teams, and who your least favorite and who you think is just the worst. So we're going to go game of the week. It's going to be a hot new rivalry since Tebby recently left us and is on his undetermined hiatus versus... So we got Grish versus Steve. And so we got the OG champ bringing that new rivalry over to Grish. Especially this being Steve winning last year or year prior, making him the OG 3 times champ, versus Grish on a fresh, shiny new matchup in his champion reign. Let's see how it turns out. He's looking for his first win, and if you've ever been a champion, nothing feels better than your first win the season after you're the champion. It's a big old suck it. So let's take a look here. Uh, all right. Over here at quarterback, we got Jalen Hurts versus Lamar Jackson. Jackson at Kansas City. Hurts hosting the Green Bay Packers in fucking Brazil on Friday. So fucking dumb. Oh my god. Just fucking shoot me in the foot, why don't you? As far as who I think is going to have the edge, I would have to give that to Lamar Jackson at KC. I just think without the travel, his ceiling isn't nearly as capped as Hurts from what we've seen from London games and how that negatively affects our fantasy players from dealing with that bullshit. So edge over to Grish on QB1. Running backs, Jonathan Taylor hosting Houston. Houston does have a history of just having epic Derrick Henry, legendary 200 plus yard runs, especially with essentially his still rookie QB. Taylor's definitely poised to put it all out there. Montgomery versus the Rams, a rematch from last year, where it was a great game, but ultimately Detroit took it over. Montgomery doing pretty all right in that game, and then Grish with Brees Hall at San Francisco and Jones at New York. They might both be away games, but Brees Hall, he's really the one with the hill to climb, especially with it being at San Francisco, primetime game. I mean, shit, a lot of these are primetime games for these guys, so you're not going to miss out at seeing it televised anywhere. But Jones, I mean, New York, like they're in full rebuild mode. Their defense is still going to suck. Sam Darnold, he loves to dump it off and hand it off to his running back and not have to throw out the ghosts that are over the field. I mean, it's really close, but where I would want to end up giving that leverage to would be over to Grish purely because of that Giants matchup. I think there's just a few other questions going around with how like Indianapolis is going to play out and if the Rams are going to step up without Aaron Darnold. They do have the consistency of their DC coming back. Wide receivers. A.J. Brown for Steve. Philly again hosting Green Bay. Great that him and Hurts are stacked. Hopefully the history does not repeat itself and that for Steve at least that they can get some more points. But even in tough matchups and tough situations, A.J. Brown is super fucking consistent. And so to say he's going to beat out his 14.3 projection, gonna say that's a safe bet. Where it's not as much of a safe bet is Mr. Deebo Samuel versus the Jets. However, because Samuel is like ultimate gadget player, I can see him just being, a typical 49er and go off for absolutely fucking no reason. And then over here we got Grish with Diggs at Indianapolis and then Pittman also over there. It's just a couple questions on how like Diggs is going to fit in with Houston and how Anthony Richardson is going to be in his first full season with the Colts. I mean, he's had 2 off seasons of full training with his team, and so I'm sure that those connections and things like that they're going to be a little bit more consistent. But still, I just think with Steve's top side, even due to the matchups, the ceiling, I'm just going to have to give that edge over to him. But then looking at tight ends, Steve, again, team 49er, going Kittle versus the New York Jets. I mean, the nice thing is that both Deebo and Brock Purdy are stacked along with Kittle. Downside is there's only one football, and so only up to 2 players are getting points per the reception and touchdowns and all that goodness. So maybe like like a sideline toss or pitch from like down to Debo, and then Debo pitches it to Kittle for the touchdown. Would that do anything? I don't know. Um, and so that's kind of where like just with the double stack and everything, it just kind of caps the overall points. And so I'm definitely gonna just have to give it to Will with Mark Andrews having that stack with Lamar at KC. Andrews, like, he's probably going to be really targeted since he's the number one receiver there. But still, when the man is on and out, he wrecks fantasy football. Looking at the flex positions for them, Steve has Zay Flowers, kind of the antithesis with Mark Andrews. Mark Andrews is covered like a blanket. Zay Flowers is going to be one to take over. I mean, second-year wide receivers, they're either going to spring up really hot or not. And I think Flowers is going to have himself a pretty fucking good year based on what he did last year. Singletary against Minnesota. Minnesota's defense continued to improve, but this is going to be at home for the Giants. And with Minnesota's offense probably still reeling a little bit and still needing to get copacetic, Singletary, I think, could easily beat out that 10-point projection that he has. Where I get uneasy with Steve's flex players would definitely be Jameson Williams. I mean, I think he's the new Kadarius Toney, and it's like, whether are you hot or are you not? Because everyone sees the flashes in the pan, they see the raw potential. Is that going to come out to anything, or is it just another turd wrapped in tinfoil? Who knows? Moving on to Grish's flexes. Elder Statesman is the first descriptor I would put in mind for his flexes. I mean, we got Swift for the Bears now, Eckler for Washington, and D-Hop still over at Tennessee, playing a little injured. Swift is going to benefit. Well, Swift and Eckler are both going to benefit from their rookie QBs. Also, both the teams that they're playing against, they're kind of going through a little bit of a turnover, and their defense isn't what it once was. But a lot of potential, and things can easily go their way. I think that both of them are going to score higher than their 9-point. All three of them are going to score higher than their 9-point projections. But it's going to be interesting with how freaking deep our starting rosters are now. I mean, it's just inevitably someone's going to eat shit. It's just whether or not you can mitigate that. But points are going to be going off the charts this year, gents. Just kind of looking at the flex positions overall, I do think that Steve has a higher ceiling, but Will has a higher floor. And I think that's important for how wide our flex positions are now. And so I'm going to be giving that edge over to Will I Am. Looking at the QB2s, going back and forth, Purdy, it is primetime Monday night game, hosting the Jets. Everyone's coming back versus Stafford going back to Detroit to get another serving of that punishment that he got last year. I'm going to give it to Purdy because Greek has the double stack, and so just really benefiting off of that. I think that's really where that's going to come in. Stafford in Detroit, Sunday night game. I think he's going to have his head on straight, but I think Stafford has a higher ceiling, but again, Purdy with the floor. This being kind of that like high middle quarterback tier, just the floor at this point is going to help win out on everything. But big boomer bust overall for Steve's team. I'm just kind of looking at their defense, special teams. I mean, Steve has Tucker at KC. Grish has Bucker at hosting Baltimore on kickoff night. That's basically going to be a wash. Then looking at the defenses, San Fran hosting Jets, Baltimore at KC. I think Baltimore is going to get their shit together, but them needing to again do the implementation of all of these pieces that they're trying to fix from their weaknesses that got put on blast at their last game of last year, are still going to take a minute to set in, and so that's just where I'm going to give Steve the edge on defense slash kicker, for Tucker being the GOAT and 49ers being where it's at. So clearly, the biggest deciding game for this matchup is definitely going to be Chiefs hosting the Ravens. The Chiefs are favored at -3, but it's a 46-point spread, which is insanely high. Not great for Grish's defense, but always great for fantasy points. And so, as that would really go to Grish's favor, what I would say is that, especially in recent history, it's been a pretty bad run for visiting slash losing teams from the championship series of the last year to go up against the back-to-back Super Bowl winners from last year, especially it being the Chiefs and Mahomes just doing different shit. Not that Detroit didn't punch him in the mouth, but that was definitely a surprise for them since Detroit wasn't even in the playoffs. Like, they were able to come out and put him on notice with some of those injuries. But just with the odds and also just with the history, I'm not saying that Baltimore can't do it. It's just not looking great, and there's so many things that can go wrong even for Baltimore to win. I just have to really give the overall win to Steve. We're not starting to call wins Steve's. Don't even fucking try that with me, Greek. But with it being so close, I had to find something to give an edge to, and so that's even why I ended up digging into histories and all that. So should be a great way to set the tone of the year. Whoever's going to be coming out with the double win out of this matchup is going to be pretty happy with how the rest of the year is going to be set. So that's all I got for you guys. Cheers again, and let's fucking get after it. Go Ragnarok!